Hey, good morning. Welcome to Hobby Evolution, episode 796. So close to 800. Good morning. It is freezing cold is an understatement. It is effing cold. Effing cold. -18. Now, on the bright side, it's a calm morning, so there's no wind chill. So it's just -18. That's degrees in Fahrenheit. -18 where Jenny's at. It's effing cold. So, fortunately, I do have to leave the house today. We're meeting with the HVAC people at the new house. I did put a new video, by the way. Newish. It's I put it out, I think, Sunday night. Building the ultimate card room. We've made some progress. Some framing is getting done in the basement. So that's coming along. I stopped in yesterday afternoon. There's a little bit more has been finished since I recorded that video. I'll put out another video once everything's finished in the basement, which today's by the end of the week. That'll all be finished by the end of the week. So I'll put another video out by the end of the week. And then I don't know if I'll be getting to many videos within the next few weeks to a month, because there won't be much framing stuff. Framing will be commencing upstairs. I think HVAC and plumbing gets underway this week. So there won't be really much to report, and there's not much going on. So in terms of any video updates, but we might pop in and do something. We've got Jenny in the chat, cold in Minnesota. Terry, good morning. Augusta Lawn Care's with us. Paul Heath, what's happening? Ed is with us. Card Hobbyist says +18 would be considered ungodly cold here. You know what? To me, and I live in Wisconsin, to me, 18 degrees positive is ungodly cold. But I just have to deal with it. Raphael, what's up? Boston Smoke in the house. Good morning, Sal Dougie. Paige and Deanie Bean are here. Red Light 34. We've got Steve Ains Comedy. It's a cold 57. I mean, shit, I think 57 is cold in September, in August. I'd love to have 57. I mean, 57 is what? Over 60 degrees warmer than what I'm dealing with right now. Actually, it's a comfortable 69 degrees where I'm at. Might be 67 down here. It's usually a couple degrees cooler in the basement because of all the baseball cards makes it cool. Dan, what's happening? Korean Cardboard in the house. Hot guy Sheena. What is up? Sheena, make it alive. What is happening? Sheena's one of my Madison card show dealers. Saw Sheena in Rockford on Saturday. What's happening? By the way, next Madison card show, Saturday, February 25th. Madison card show, Sheraton Hotel, John Nolan Drive. Already several first-time dealers for the February show, and we're still almost a month away, but we're booking tables already. Let's see. First-time dealers, February, Madison card show, Sheraton Hotel, John Nolan Drive, 125 tables. I've got Greg, who I believe, and I've had some like out-of-state people reaching out for this February show. I think Greg might be from Minneapolis. And I've had some like really random out-of-state drives, phone numbers. One was Virginia. Another East Coast number popped up. Let's see. So we've got Greg. He's a first-time dealer. Juan's coming back. It'll be his second show. Matt is coming back for his technically third show, but he hasn't been with us last week, 2 weeks ago. He set up for the first time since like May of 2021. Let's see. We've got Ben back, just the second time for Ben. Tough to find stuff on Instagram, by the way. We've got Jace coming back. He's just second time. Jake's coming back. I think Jake's been set up at a couple shows, but not regular. And Heidi is a first time. And then there's a couple others that are, on the fence. So yeah, it's going to be a lot of new stuff to see at the Madison Card Show, February 25th. And of course, many of our regular dealers like Sheena. By the way, Sheena, when you see the walkthrough videos, Sheena is right at the top of the stairs, outside the upstairs ballroom on the mezzanine, right there on the corner. It's like the prime, like when I first opened up the hallway, I'm like, man, it's going to be hard. Nobody's going to want to be in the hallway. We call it the mezzanine. It sounds nicer and fancier. But now it's like Sheena's got the prime spot. It's like the best location at the Madison Card Show. Kyle, what's happening? Good morning to you. Not looking forward to being outside today. I'm not even looking forward to getting in my car and just taking a few steps outside, whether it's the post office or the new house. Not looking forward to it either. Harlan in the house. A little early this morning for Harlan. For me or for you? I guess on time is early for me because I'm always so tardy. So yes, for me on Hobby Evolution, on time is a little early because I'm always fashionably late. Actually, unfashionably late. Johnny Boy Cards, what's up? Augusta says it's a crazy year. It's usually in the teens this time of year. We're in sweatshirts and even gone out comfortably in a t-shirt a few times this month. It's nuts. We've had, and here I am talking about our mild winter when it's negative 18 degrees. We have had a very, very mild winter. And it's like we've had significant snowfalls, but then it gets 40 and it melts right away, which is nice. I like that. It causes a lot of mud and mess, but I don't have to look at snow. Well, snow's okay. It's the 3-week-old dirty snow. That's just the ugly stuff, the spring snow. But it's going to be cold the next couple days. However, I looked at the extended forecast. Now, this is just from my Apple weather thing, which sucks most of the time. I think it says next Monday it's going to be in the 40s. So I'll take that. Melt some of this damn snow away and get me out of the negative temperatures. But yeah, we've had a very mild winter here. Christian, what's happening? Good morning to you. James in the house. John Nolan. Oh, little belch. Excuse me. Where are my manners? John Nolan Drive. Brian Wolf in the house. Where we at? Jenny, I titled the video today, Where We At? I didn't really have a topic. I've got a couple topics that I want to touch on today. I want to touch on, I made a bulk sale that was like super easy. And it's made me think about, now that I'm in I need to purge a lot of my stuff, especially when it comes to quarter boxes. At least there's a carrot where people are interested. Like the bulk that I just my truckload sales, that's hard because it's mostly commons. But if I have somewhat stale inventory in my quarter boxes, move that in bulk and get somebody a good price. And the key factor is it's stale to me and my customer base. Like James, who's in the chat. James has seen my baseball boxes. James has dug through, if he might have dug through a box 6 times. It might be the same stuff, or actually James is like, I've seen this 6 times. I'm not going to look at it again. But to somebody, I sold to another Kyle who's not in the chat. He's a dealer every once in a while at my shows, and he also does shows in Iowa. And so I had what I thought were stale 25-cent boxes. And so I cut him a great deal on 10 boxes. And he took them, this was on a Saturday. He took them on a Sunday to a show in Iowa and made a killing. And I was making the same, just piddly, few bucks here, few bucks there, because I'm setting up at the same shows month after month. You get the same clientele. But if you ship them to Iowa or another state where people haven't dug through them, it's fresh, new inventory. And guess what? it moves now, and that's what happens. If Kyle took them to a second show to the same show in Iowa, likely going to have less sales, right? Because it's probably going to be many of the same customers. I make, and I think the reason I do so well in Rockford is because I have customers like James that dig through my boxes, and as long as I keep bringing new inventory, he'll keep digging and buying. Dig, dive, buy. So that's so last night I was cleaning out my it was a freaking disaster. I still recovering from the last Goodwill pallet. I bought another one. And then I was putting together these big, large flat rate boxes of basketball in this bulk sale. So actually delayed the cleaners a day. I'm like, I'm in a mess. Can we push it to Tuesday? And so now I'm getting pretty much organized in there so I can mess it up again with more Goodwill pallets, which I'll talk about. Let's see. Jenny says the next show should be busy. eBay is taking off as fast as Bo takes off when he hears pallet. I second guessed this one more so than usual because I started thinking, okay, this room's a mess. I haven't dumped off any of my bulk. Got a potential buyer, but it might not be until next week. Where in the hell am I going to put more stuff? Even though I've sold, I sold 4 boxes at the card show Saturday. I've got 3 large flat rates and another small box going out. I'm moving a lot of stuff, but it's like I've got a lot of, I'm going to have to play some Tetris. So I did think about it, and it's like, Cooter says, where's Cooter at? Cooter says storage unit, but I just don't want to do that. It may come, we'll see where I'm at in another month when my feet are really to the fire. It's not really the move I'm concerned with. It's the getting everything cleaned up to show the house when we put it on the market. That's the concern. That's where I need, the stair, the closet underneath the stairs. It can't be 8 feet high stacked baseball cards front to back. I'm gonna open that up and be like, can't do that. So that's the tricky part. Let's see. Herman says, good morning. Got some eBay listing to do today. Very nice. Let's see. Zach says, morning. Tough to find stuff. Was my first trade via Instagram when Porter and I joined the hobby. Very cool. I sent him a Don Mikowski 1990 Fleer Auto. I got signed in person as a kid. That's very cool. Yeah, Ben's a great dude. I know he's been to the show a few times. He set up once. He's setting up again on February 25th. Let's see. Card Hobbyist reacting to Jenny's comment. It says, where does it say? I agree. January has been my best month selling since selling low end on eBay. I'm having a good January, like sales. It's different stuff. I think my volume is probably up. My sales dollars are down, but I think my volume might be up. Let's see. So I'm going to finish depending on how today goes, but I'm likely going to finish somewhere. Let's see. I'm going to be very close to December's sales dollar number, actually. December, I'm going to be below November. I'm going to be below October, but I'm going to be way above September. I'm going to be way above August. And this is a good, and Jenny, that's a great point with looking at eBay sales compared to card shows, because my August, September, and October card shows, the Madison card show was pretty slow. And those were really poor months sales-wise for me on eBay as well. January's been a good month, and I had a great January show in Madison, and then I had a killer show in Rockford last week. So there could be some, it seemed like it was kind of the opposite. If I had a good month on eBay, the card shows were not as good. But now it's starting to see, maybe that's a return to, quote, air quotes, normalcy. Maybe when we see there's demand in person that, also is demand online as well. So we'll see if this trend continues. But at least for the last 6 months or so, there's been a trend. Online sales are, basically a correlation to in-person sales, where if I have a down month online, seems to be a down month on at a local card show. It's negative 21 degrees right now. My computer just updated. Negative 21 degrees, but it's clear and we don't have a wind. So it's just negative 21. Max says cold in the Midwest during the winter. Nah, who would have thought? I know, right? Crazy. It's kind of like, by the way, sidebar, because I'm going to say I'm 40 years old. I've lived in the Midwest my entire life, but I still am mesmerized by the first snowfall. Like I've never seen snow before. Oh my God, we got an inch of snow today. No shit. It's December in Wisconsin. Of course you have snow. Anyway, I'm 40 years old. Last night, my wife and I, we have this routine. This is also a sign where you get old. You have a dinner routine. We play Question of the Day on Alexa, followed by Jeopardy on Alexa, which is a really fun game, by the way. I know a lot of people know about Question of the Day, but Jeopardy, I've turned a lot of people on to Alexa Jeopardy. So we play Jeopardy. And then we watch Jeopardy, and we're, depending on where we're at, sometimes we're behind. We got way behind because my wife was in Florida for 2 weeks. So, and I don't, that's our routine. So I'm not going to spoil it. So we're still playing catch up. We're a couple days behind. And then we, sometimes we met if I'm off somewhere, she's off somewhere, and we skip it. So anyway, last night, and I think it was Friday's edition of Jeopardy, there was something that came across, and I'm like, holy shit. I never realized. I'm 40 years old, and I didn't know. Did you know spandex is an anagram? Wait for it. For expand. I was mind blown. I'm a child of the 80s when spandex was king. I am 40 years, almost 41. I'm 40 and a half. And I never realized spandex was an anagram for expand. Amazing. Is that right? Yeah, an anagram, right? Anyway. Fascinating. Victor, what's happening? Good morning to you. George in the house, what's up? Jenny says, if you don't have snow piles over 20 feet tall, you can't complain about melting some of the snow away. No. Augustus says, also just a reminder, the Eagles have the 10th overall pick this year. Yes. Thanks to the Saints trade. Yeah. I am a mock draft junkie, especially this year, even more so because the Chicago Football Bears have the number 1 overall pick. And I really hope they trade out of it. I really think they do, but now it annoys me when I go to, because many mock drafts don't do trades. And first, in some years, that makes sense because whoever holds the number 1 pick, the Jacksonville Jaguars a couple years ago, they were not going to trade that pick. They were going to select quarterback out of Clemson, Trevor Lawrence. The Chicago Football Bears should trade out, because if they trade down to 2 with the Texans or 4 to the Colts, they're still going to get the guy that they would take at number 1, along with multiple other draft picks. They need to acquire quantity of quality. So just like pass, if I see a mock draft and the Chicago Bears with the number 1 pick take Jalen Carter, it's like, this is not going to happen. Click, you're done. Moving on, next mock draft. And I love the 7-round mock drafts. Although there was one on like USA Today where it said the Bears were going to trade down twice. So their first trade was with the Texans, but they were going to acquire both the 2nd and 12th pick along with some other picks. And then they were going to trade out of, and then but they never showed who they picked or how they would trade out of the number 2 pick. And then I'm like looking for the comments. It's like, and I read it like 3 or 4 times just to make sure I wasn't going crazy. And I'm looking for the comments. There was no comments. I don't know if anybody else saw that. Speaking of mock drafts, Dan says, hit that like button. Thank you, Dan. Good morning to you. Augusta Lawn Care says, where you at? Where you at? Where you at? Jenny with all that snow. Jenny's way up north. North. I have a terrible northern accent. Let's see. Good morning. Diego, what's up? Don't hit the like, subscribe, or hit the notification bell. Reverse psychology. Hey, maybe that works. Just Inventory, what's up? Good morning. Cooters in the house. Put the TCMA Stars of the 60s in a binder yesterday. An enjoyable set, man. They're enjoyable for me because they are so in demand. The TCMA Cooters, talking about the TCMA Stars. Let me see if I have. And just for like reference, just a tip. Cards like these, and this is TCMA's Baseball's Greatest Sluggers, and I still have a bunch in my eBay store. Here's Joe DiMaggio. These sell. So this is and I have a stack of that, but this stack when I listed was probably out to here. They sell really well. So I like them because I know I can move them. They are quick moving inventory. Ted, what's happening? Good morning. Mark Marinello in the house. Jenny's over in Minnesota, Augusta. Let's see. Oh, talking to Augusta. Where are we at? Theme of the day. Where we at? Let's see. Where are we at? Let's see. We have had over 60 inches of snow this season so far, so our piles are a bit high. I saw a graphic this week, and I think it took into account this weekend snow. We've had like 35 inches of snow, which is more than average for our area. But it doesn't seem like we've had that much snow because it's melted like right away, because we get these snowfalls of 6 inches or so. But then 2 days later, it's 45 degrees and it melts away, which, hey, that's my kind of winter. We had a white Christmas. We had a lot of snow in December. Boom, perfect. Melted away after Christmas. Now we've got some snow. It's going to be cold for a few more days. It's going to be a while before this melts. Where's Cooter at? Where's Cooter at? What's up, John? John, that 70s card show in the house. Are you buying more than you're selling? So let's see. By dollars, I'm selling more than I'm buying. I have to stay in business. Let's see. So I am buying less than I'm selling from a dollar standpoint. From a quantity standpoint, let's see. This is going to be my second Goodwill pallet of the month. So I'm taking in more quantity than I'm selling. Because 2 Goodwill pallets, that's about 250,000 cards that I'm taking in. This bulk deal that I'm sending out is about a little less than 10,000 cards. Let's see. I sold 4 boxes. I sold a little less than 10,000 cards at the Rockford Card Show, which that's moving a lot, but not 250,000 cards. So I'm buying a lot more in volume than I'm selling, but I'm spending a lot less dollars than I'm making selling. Is it Grizzy Media Group, Card Dealer Pro for the win? Let's go. Hell yeah. I've got to get back on there. It's been a few days. It's been a minute, as the kids say. It's been a minute since I think I'm saying it wrong. Isn't a minute like, yeah, a minute. Man, it's been a minute. That's when you haven't seen somebody in a long time, which doesn't make sense. But when I was growing up, we said stuff that didn't make sense either. So kids these days. So it's been a minute. I got to get back on Card Dealer Pro. Dan's 1099 came yesterday. Do you have eBay withhold anything from your sales, or do you put the percentage of side on your own? I don't know. I let the accountant do all that. I have a tax professional that handles all of that. So basically, he tells me what to do, and I just get the paperwork for him. So I cannot answer any of that. I just give the 1099 to him, and then of course all of my receipts and all of my business stuff goes to him as well. I do track like my expenditures on a monthly basis, which I really need to. I haven't for my fiscal year. I'm a few months. My fiscal year starts October 1st, so October, November, December, and now January. I'm a bit behind, so I need to play catch up. So I'm not doing a whole year's worth come September. Zach says, I don't consider it low end. I consider it the correct expectation for value. Everything else is inflated on hype, which, by the way, I want to talk about inflated hype. Because I was, before I went live this morning, I was doing some shipping and I shipped a card that it brought back some nostalgia. Not like the Book It Pizza Hut nostalgia that I tweeted about yesterday, and Kmart baseball cards, but nostalgia from the COVID boom, because I sold a COVID darling. And so it got me thinking. So I want to talk about that this morning. Let's see. George says, I'm in the Wan district of Incheon. I know you wondered where I was. Let's see. John asks if eBay can withhold. I didn't think they can. Seems that's the antithesis of 1099s. I'm pretty sure it is. Yeah, I don't think eBay withholds anything. Let's see. Or I don't think there's any option for that. Jenny says my computer updated. It's -12 now. It's mine updated. It's the inverse of 12. It's -21 degrees. It's a balmy -9 in Minneapolis. Just took out the recycling. Today is Tuesday. It's only garbage day this week. But I've got a lot of garbage down here, so it might be a full garbage can week. Mark says, love that set, Cooter. I put my 75 SSPC set in Pages yesterday. Another fun set, the SSPC set. Putting my 70s Kellogg sets in Sheets as we speak. But by the way, speaking of Kellogg, there was I found a box as I was trying to do some consolidation as I was cleaning my rec room. And I have some like boxes that's like, okay, I've got 2 rows of a 4-row box. I'm going to like, this will be some eBay stuff. So I opened one box and there's some panels, like box top panels from 2008 Heritage. And I'm like, where did these come from? There was probably like 10 or 12 of them, including a Max Scherzer rookie box topper. There's only one on eBay, and I'm like, man, this might be super rare, expensive. Because I was thinking of the boom, like Scherzer rookies and Verlander rookies were selling for like $40-$50. I'm like, oh, this might be $100 card panel. No, there's one on eBay. It's $35 shipped. That's non-sold. So I'm thinking somewhere in the $20 to $30 range. So I'll put it up on eBay eventually. But I was going through and there was like a ton of like a stack of Chris Sale rookies. And I know he's not what he was a few years ago, but there was like the Diamond Anniversary rookies, from 11. There was, I think a Topps Chrome purple, like numbered out of 250 rookie of Chris Sale. And I'm like, well, this has to be something. And I don't know where that box might have been from that basketball, from the bulk deal that I bought from Tim down at the Rockford Loves Park show last summer or fall, whenever that was, October, I think. So yeah, I'm not sure where they came, but it might have been from that deal, and I just haven't opened the box since we did the deal in October. So those are fun finds. I like that when you discover cards that you didn't realize you had. John says upper Midwesterners are crisis actors during the winter. I think John's got a pretty good point. Did you know it's this cold? We've got this much snow. No shit. It's like every other year in the upper Midwest. Let's see. Augusta says, yeah, you get a whole different weather effects. You get the lake effect snow. Unfortunately, it only reaches about halfway across PA. It doesn't quite reach us here in New Jersey. Cooter says you were building a class You are building a space for your store and inventory. A storage unit will allow you a buffer to get stuff out of current space and not have to move it in a rush to the new house. I know that's a really good point. That would allow me to not have to move stuff around. Because right now I have to be very strategic and like move stuff around. And guess what happens when you move stuff around? You misplace boxes and you discover them 3 months later. Hey, I didn't know I had all these. Which is a lot more fun when you accidentally discover something you didn't think you had, as opposed to knowing you have something and can't find it, which is actually more common, at least in my in my experience. So Cooter, now that I see it again, Cooter, and by again, this is probably the 14th time he's mentioned it, at least probably more than 14 times. It is a good point because it would allow a buffer to where I'm not like tripping over boxes and okay, where am I putting this? And then Cooter's wise. Cooter, you are wise. John says, Mark, I'd put those Kellogg's in top loaders. They can still curl in the pages. Oh, let's see. Card Hobbyist says, cue Mike Gundy. I'm a man, right? I'm 40. Iron Maiden wore spandex. I'm okay with that. There you go. Speaking of Iron Maiden and spandex, Ken, our buddy Bean's B-Card blog, tweeted out yesterday what you're and you can, if you're not a wrestling fan, he made it to wrestling people, but this could also double as your walk-up theme in baseball. So you're coming out to bat. What's your walk-up theme going to be? Mine's going to be wrestling. What song am I going to come out to? And that's tough because there's so many songs that I think would be awesome to walk out to. But one of my hype songs when I was a really shitty basketball player in junior high and high school, I mean, come on, I was like 5'6", little out of shape, didn't like to exercise, 5'6" or 7, 8. But my hype song to hype me up to sit on the bench in high school basketball was Dio, Rainbow in the Dark. And I think it was on like a soundtrack that I had, and it would play on my Sony Discman. So this was before CD burners. So it must have been like a soundtrack or something, because I wouldn't have bought a Dio CD. But it might have been like Best of Hair Metal or something. I don't know. But Rainbow in the Dark was my hype song. So I'm like, you know what? That's a pretty good song. So I went to YouTube. I listened to the song. And I'm like, this is a perfect walk-up song. And I think my gimmick, and Ken didn't say like, no, like it didn't say like, what's your gimmick? Like just you. But I mean, I've got to have a gimmick, right? I mean, I'm a wrestler. So I'm not going to be 5'10" with a big beer belly. I'm going to be like buff. I'm going to have a mullet. I'm probably going to wear spandex, right? Because it's hearkening back to the 80s. So I'm going to do Rainbow in the Dark by Dio. And so it's got that. That's terrible. That sounds nothing like Dio's Rainbow in the Dark. But, you know. And then all of a sudden, when there's lightning. And that's when my pyro goes up because my music hits, right? My music hits. I'm standing in the gorilla position where my wrestling fans at. They know what that means. I'm waiting at gorilla. And all of a sudden, when there's lightning, pyro goes off, and here comes Bo. Rainbow in the dark. So that's my walk-up song. If only I was 6'6", 285 pounds, sculpted, and a professional wrestler. I'm walking out to Dio's Rainbow in the Dark. Let's see. Amazing and fascinating are not the accurate adjectives for uncovering an anagram. Sorry. I was fascinated. Let's see. Where we at? Oh shit, I skipped way ahead. Let's see. Where we at? Appropriate title for today. Where we at? Here we are. Steve Ains says, hit the like button, please, and thank you. Thank you, Steve. Brian Dean in the house. Good morning. Brian's been giving me tips on iPhone photography. By the way, Brian, I ordered one of those. I think it's going to come today, like one day. Amazon. Boom. Amazon for the win. So I think it's going to be delivered today. My little zoom lens, so I get to play with it before I go to spring training. Huddle card collection. What's up? Good morning. Mark says, I'll penny sleeve them as well. Thanks for the advice. Let's see. Ed says, penny sleeve and top loader is how I store my Kellogg sets. Augusta says, I remember getting those TCMA sets as a kid, but they were absolutely worthless since they weren't name brands. Good to know all of these off brands are coming back into style. Yeah. Especially like, I'm surprised the pile that I showed you had Joe DiMaggio on. I'm surprised Joe DiMaggio, that card hasn't sold. I've sold some other Joe DiMaggios. I think Herman in a group chat was looking up on eBay, and he's like, and there's like all the sold 1 million cups, 1 million cups, 1 million cups. So if you're looking for some singles of TCMA stars of the 60s, or actually I might have some of those. Greatest Sluggers, I think, was that set. Check out my eBay store. Link in the description to this video. Bought a collection 20 years ago full of that stuff. Yeah, so speaking of buying collections and these all-time great set, even the swell baseball greats, like, you know, I think many of us look at these as just like junkier than junk, but they're not. There's actually a premium on some of these, most of them. Like the swell baseball greats. So the first like real like bulk buy that I made, it wasn't a collection. It was kind of a collection, but I would say more of a bulk buy, was with my buddy Dave, Antique Shop. And I've shared this story before. I'll try to make it quick, but it's hard for me to make a quick story. I am not concise. My buddy Dave had gone to this antique shop. He saw cards. He calls me. He's like, hey, do you want to go out to Good Hope, Illinois? Big antique shop there at the corner of the intersection of 67 and Route 9. So we went up there, and it was a bunch of junk. It was junk wax era. And this was 10 years ago. This was about 2012, 2013. And I'm like, there's nothing here I want. My buddy Dave wanted, it was like a 2006 sealed top set. And he's like, I want this. And I think it had a $25 sticker on it. So, and this is like basically an antique mall. Like, it's just consignment basically, I think. So I think everything, and I don't know how we didn't get into details, but I think basically everything was like marked as is, but they would sell the table for X amount. They would sell it all for X amount. So Dave offered whoever was working in the store, he's like, oh, this is marked at 25. I'll give you 20 for it. He's like, nope, I got to have 25. And he's like, nah, I don't think I want it. Not for 25. I do 20. He's like, nope, I got to have 25. I can't move on that. Then all of a sudden he goes, but I can sell you the entire table for 200. Like, what? There's like, based on sticker price, there's like $4,000 worth of stuff on this table, or 3,000. But I can do the whole table for 200. And now this piqued my interest. I'm like, there's a lot of fun here for $200. I'm working in radio at the time, so I don't, $200 is a lot of damn, like $20 for a blaster is like, you know, more than my budget. So, the guy walked away, and Dave wasn't interested in the whole table. I was. So now I've got to convince Dave to go in halvesies. And I said, let's do half and half. And I think we might have been in my Explorer at the time, and I didn't have space for it all. He had a truck. So we went back, and he's like, so we're like, we're going to take it. So we went back to town, got his truck, boom. Anyway, there was like 10 or 12 of those boxes of swell baseball greats. Dave's like, that's junk. I don't want any of those. We had a draft. I'm like, I'll let you take first pick because you discovered they had cards and you want an item. I really don't care. So he picked first, took his set, and then I picked second, took whatever set was most valuable that was left over. And then we just went back and forth. He picked, I picked, he picked, I picked. And I wanted all the swell base. So I ended up like most of my picks were like the swell baseball grades. And I made like I was making, and again, this is 10 years ago, I was selling the sets for like $20. And there were like 10 wax boxes, and I think you could get like 2 or 3 sets out of a wax box because there was a ton of cards in a wax box. And I think the sets were only 100 or 150 cards. So made a killing on the swell baseball grades. And that was 10 years ago. Let's see. Moving on. Mark, I only have 3 Kellogg 3D sets. I need to remedy that. Augusta says I must have 50 1992 P&G All-Star sets as an example. I think I know what you're talking about, and I don't think there's much of a premium on those. Are those like with the current players? Because I think I have a ton of those also. Like Sandberg's in there. If that's the set, not much of a premium. Every once in a while I'll move singles, but they don't sell as well as some of the other oddball sets. Especially in I guess the biggest sellers are the Hall of Famers, the greats of the game, Mantle, DiMaggio, Gehrig, Clemente, Hank Aaron, those types of players. But I also move Joe Adcock or Earl Averill. Like those sell also. North Jersey has gotten only 3 inches total for the season, which means we'll get clobbered in February and March. And that's what I made the mistake of telling my wife the other night. Boy, it's been a really mild winter. And now as I look at my thermometer on my computer, it's negative 21 degrees outside. Take that for saying it's been a mild winter. Kyle says, hopefully this next Goodwill pallet has some more NASCAR autographs. For you, I hope. For me, it's like, oh, more NASCAR. Harlan says, just drove past a bald eagle picking roadkill off the side of the road. Maybe it's an omen for the Super Bowl. Oh. Let's see. Huddle card collection, no snow in Atlanta. Mark says, Cooter, they are cool sets. Many of them, I bought them as a kid by eating a lot of cereal, drove my mom nuts. Paige and Deanie Bean, holla at you, boy. eBay doesn't withhold at all. All on you to do your own withholding. Yes. Dairyland, my guy Denny's in the house. eBay fees should be accounted for in cost of goods sold. For sure. But eBay won't, like your 1099 doesn't reflect that. So eBay just gives you your gross revenue. So it's up to you to track, which it's eBay. It's super easy. Like you go to your reports, speak, and all of that's super easy. Just basically you just print it off. It's super easy. So yeah, but you do like, just so those that are aware, for reporting your eBay revenue, like that does not include shipping. That does not include promotional fees. That does not include eBay fees. So all of that needs to be accounted for when you submit to the government. Jenny says, I think the only thing eBay offers is when you have them take the state taxes and handle all that before they even send it to the seller. Yeah, eBay takes care of the sales tax, but nothing in terms of income tax. Huddle card collection, or the Bears pick a QB to reset the rookie QB clock, then trade Fields. No. I do not want that to happen. I've seen some mock drafts where it's like, I mean, you have to get creative when you're creating content on mock drafts. So I've seen a few that have those, and I don't like any of those instant, because I mean, I like Justin Fields. So, maybe in 3 years, maybe he's one of the top 5 quarterbacks in the NFL in 5 years. Maybe he's not. But right now, I think he's the guy. Now in 5 years, maybe I'll look back and say, Jesus, what was I thinking? He's terrible. Mitch Trubisky, Cade McNown. Name any other Bears quarterback in the entire run of their franchise. You can count on one hand how many good to great quarterbacks the Bears have had. Let's see. But remember, Jim McMahon took the Bears to a Super Bowl. Rex Grossman took the Bears to a Super Bowl. So you don't have to be Joe Montana, Tom Brady, or Patrick Mahomes to get to the Super Bowl. eBay likes to lump seller fees and shipping into your tax forms. Makes no sense. Fields has no trade value. That is false. He would have a lot of trade value. Let's see, a sweetener, but not a cornerstone to a trade. He would still get you. I mean, he wouldn't get, to me, I mean, he would get you enough. But to me, it's like, I would rather have Justin Fields at quarterback, have multiple picks, and still get, use your top pick, your top 5 pick, hopefully, on a defensive player like Will Anderson or Jalen Carter. But that's just my opinion. Others probably have differing opinions. Dan says, on the eBay 1099 frequently asked questions page, there's a section talking about the option to put aside or withhold 24%. Not quite sure how it all works. I only looked at it briefly. I have no idea what that would mean. No idea. So I cannot answer that. If it's 1099, then there is no withholding. Texans or Colts will take him. May not get as much. It's about the cap. What's up, baseball card curmudgeon? Let's see. Jenny says, John, I don't know what it's called exactly, but sellers can have eBay do state taxes, and that's completely separate. State tax, sales tax. That's sales tax. So sales tax is completely different than a 1099 for income tax. The oddball cards that everybody avoided now have some demand for set collectors and for people who collect Hall of Famers or teams. Absolutely. Which is what I've been finding out. Let's see. What is preventing you from dragging stuff over to the new house right now? Get a temporary pod. That's actually something I considered, and we talked through this in a chat yesterday. I do have like 3 heavy duty racks already in my basement at the new house. But somebody made a good point where it's like, you don't want to start putting stuff in now because it won't be organized. And then when you start moving in, it's not organized and it creates a mess. So that makes a lot of sense. And so that's why I'm not a pod. That's actually, I don't want a pod in the driveway because, there's a tree that's going to be taken out right at the driveway where the driveway and garage meet. So like, it's just, it just wouldn't, there's not a place to put it. So there's just too much traffic, too much other stuff going on. So a pod would not work, but a storage unit would be an option, which I do need to take into consideration. Cooter's been beating into my thought process. Imagine the eBay accounting offices having to make state and income tax payments for millions of sellers to 50 states. Seems like a nightmare. Yes. We do the same. Our accountant tells us how much to send in each quarter. Yep. Great song, Bo. Let's see. I'm not sure how it works. Maybe Bo has more insight to it. 15-second skip protection disc, man. I think mine was only like 8-second. Yeah, those skip protection, or if you didn't, because I don't know if anybody grew up in Illinois and rode a school bus. But if you rode a school bus in the state of Illinois is not known for its smooth highways. And school buses kind of ride like lumber wagons. So you needed, like, if you're on a school bus, in some of our trips were, an hour to an hour and a half away, and you're on a school bus trying to get hyped up on Rainbow in the Dark by Dio, and it's skipping every 3 seconds. Not good. So you needed, in Illinois, on a school bus, you needed that 15-second skip protection. Sony Discman. Probably Vision Quest. Ooh, Vision Quest. Cooter says, you are building a Class A space. Sorry for the typo. Small phone, fat thumbs. But it's also one of many reasons the eBay fees are worth it, for sure. I've been brought up on stage by Eye of the Tiger by Survivor. There you go. That's a good hype song. Where are we at? I see a Mike Glennon comment. Let's see. I see Brendan's in the chat. I see Harlan, Robert Lanham, James. Okay, wow, I'm way behind. See, I'm not on StreamYard, so I don't know how behind I am. Let's see. Where are we at? Augusta says, I've been so bad at my phone typing lately. My sis told me to stop drinking so much during the Eagles game this weekend. I type so fast. Let's see. Bobby Jenks had the best walk-up song on the South Side. Boom, here comes the boom. It was perfect for him. Don't quit your day job. I am not a singer. Let's see. Andrew says, at 7:34 a.m., Bo is officially in his own. 7:51 here. So maybe that's my time. So I'm only 15 minutes behind in the chat. eBay charges sales tax based on the buyer's home state without any input from the seller at all. As far as I know, that is correct, and have done so for several years. It's been a couple years. When did they institute that? It has been a few years when they started doing that. Joe Caprino, what's up? I only hit the like button when reminded. Dan won an of 5 red refractor. Those are red refractors of 5 are great. There's a premium on those also. They're expensive. State income is what I'm referring to. They have to do the state sales tax in most states. Victor wants to know, did you buy a camera? I bought from Amazon the zoom lens from one of the links Brian sent me in the chat yesterday. So I did pick up. I read the reviews. And actually, the cheaper of the two he sent over had better reviews and seemed easier to use. So I took the path of least resistance, both in use and monetarily. I think it was like half the price as the other one. So I think it was like $60. So I think it's going to be delivered today. It said like 1 day delivery with Amazon Prime. So it might be on my doorstep today. Mark says, Bo, what would your finisher move be called? Ooh, that's a tough one. I'm going to have to think about that. I don't know, because I don't even know what move I would use. And I guess, I don't know. Oh man, that's a good one. I'll have to think on that. Let's see. Robert says, I'm late to the dance here. They are under no obligation to worry about state or federal income taxes of sellers. Talking about eBay. Yes, a storage unit, definitely climate controlled, would help you out. There's one down the street. Actually, they're building one. Just you can see it from my backyard, just beyond the cornfield. But it's not. It won't be ready. But there's one couple miles down the road, over by the Menards and the Target. Huddle Card says, I file my own state sales tax, which is 0 because eBay does it. Let's see. One of my favorite sets is 1982 Baseball Card News. I'm not familiar with it. I mean, if I saw it, I would probably know what it was. But by name, I'm not familiar. Herman's listing a bunch of TCMA cards tonight. There you go. Brian says, let me know what kind. I have many more tips and tricks that will help you in the long run. Huddle says, I found a 2022 Topps Chrome Aaron Judge Sepia. Yes. I just shipped out. I found a Chrome Aaron Judge in the last Goodwill pallet number 9, 10, coming home to daddy today or tomorrow. Depends if I have time today. There was an Aaron Judge base Chrome that I put on eBay, $15. Boom, sold within like 2 hours. Let's see. His finisher would probably be a rainbow drop off the top rope for the win. Oh yeah, the old flying elbow smash, but it's got to have a fun name. Which, hey, rainbow in the dark. Oh yeah, that's a good one. Steve, that's a great idea. It would just be rainbow in the dark. Maybe when I get ready for my finisher, I point to the lights because I'm going to the top rope. I climb to the top rope. Boom. The lights go off. And then flying elbow smash off the top rope with little effects on the TV screen. A rainbow on my flying elbow smash. How about that? Rainbow in the dark. Do, 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 do. Steve, I like it. I really have no baseball list, pretty much all football. Any suggestions on where to start? Already have all my Judge, Ohtani, and Harper listed. Start with the top. Start with Brady, Rodgers. Start with Jalen Hurts, Patrick Mahomes. Start with those guys and work your way down. That's what I do. I mean, that's what I. Now that I'm where I'm at with so many listings, it's, now it's just kind of I do some trial and error. But if I were, and so I'm using Car Dealer Pro, so I'm doing a lot of scanning and bulk listing. But if I were just on my couch from my phone listing, I'm taking all the top stuff first. If I'm not doing bulk listing, I'm going to do who's hot right now. Obviously, Mahomes, Hurts, Kelsey, whatever other players are in the Super Bowl. Baseball prospects are super hot, but you said football. So football, it's kind of one of the, for like 90%, 95% of football, this is not the time to move football. But I move baseball year round because that's my thing. But in football, obviously right now and for the next 2 to 3 weeks, Hurts, Mahomes, Eagles, Chiefs. And then, of course, your GOATs, Brady, Aaron Rodgers, current players, because they're going to move faster than retired guys. Young rook, Trevor Lawrence, Justin Fields, guys like that. Quarterbacks. Let's see. Brendan, what's up? Water we is an anagram for where we at. Huddle Card says, Augusta, I would list more stars, inserts, rookies with colored, numbered cards. There you go. Steve, and he yells, where we at? I like it. We're scripting my WWE. Now, I just need to get in shape and learn how to wrestle. Let's see. Honestly, I would say just throw things at the wall and see what sticks. Example, I just shipped a Kevin Kiermaier rookie. Now I have to pull an 83 Dwight Evans. And that's great. And that's that's Jenny's way. That's my way. Like, I just trial and error. Boom. But I'm bulk listing. If I was not bulk listing, I'm going to pick and choose, and I'm going to list the rookies and the hot players right now. Let's see. We don't even have a trace of snow yet here in Philly, and outside of a couple days, February looks warm too. With a frowny face, man, I'd be celebrating. Supposed to flurry this morning, flipping, but of course it's 40 degrees, so won't stick. Let's see. Jenny tries to list based on how I buy. I don't buy Trout and Ohtani and all the stars. I buy twins, so commons do matter. I found I can move stuff that way because everyone else is listing stars. Flipping Sports Guy says eBay fees as cost of goods sold. Nope, those are a separate expense line. Not sure what that's in regard to. Let's see. Jenny says leaves less competition. Brian wants to know, did I watch any of the videos? I did not. I did not watch the videos. Let's see. I clicked on one, and then I think I saw it was, I don't know how long it was, and I'm like, I'm not going to watch this right now. I will eventually. Maybe I'll have it on in the background as I ship. But I have to go to the house at like 9 this morning, so at some point. Let's see. Augusta says, if you are a part-time seller, all you really have to do is add your total sales after fees to the other income category. Mike Glennon, Sexy Rexy. Defenses took the Bears to the Super Bowl. Both Super Bowls, defenses. That's if you have a great defense, you don't need Tom Brady or Patrick Mahomes. As was the case with the 1985-86 Chicago Bears, though that 85 team had a decent running back by the name of Walter Sweetness Payton. But of course, that defense was frickin' phenomenal. And that 2005 defense, I mean, look at the games that 05 Bears team. I mean, that was some fun. I mean, you had Devin Hester on special teams. R.W. McQuarters was Vasher on that team. Where's Zach at? He can help me out and name that Bears defense. That Bears defense in 05 was about as fun as 85 in a different way. 85 was just blue collar, punchy in the mouth. The 05 Bears defense was a little more finesse. Let's see. Flipping Sports Guy says, by today's standards, Rex Grossman would be a franchise QB since he led the team to a Super Bowl. John says, because the NFL understands the value of every Ohio State quarterback ever. Augustus says, Bears QB run has been like Steelers before Roethlisberger, Stewart, Maddox. Hey, we even had Cordell. Cordell was a Bears quarterback for a while. Awesome for like 2 years, then flop. Victor starts naming some quarterbacks. Eric Kramer, Shane Matthews, Jim Miller, Kyle Orton. Mark says, Jets, hold my beer. Man, I don't know. I'd put the Bears quarterback futility of the last 25 years up against the New York Jets. Steve Stenstrom, Chad Hutchinson, Henry Burris, Moses Moreno. I mean, these guys don't even sound like these guys sound like they would suck at quarterback. Rick Meyer. Oh, bad QBs. Let's see. John says, your contractor doesn't need any more reasons to slow the reno. Piles of cards would get in their way. I did ask because I've got those shelves. He's not back where they're at. He doesn't need, because that's an unfinished area. The only thing it might get in the way is the HVAC. So it probably would, not directly with my contractor, but with the subs. It probably would get, because I think there is a vent right there. So I'm trying to keep stuff at a minimum. The part of the garage is filled with crap, like shelves and stuff that we had bought from a client of my wife's. Baseball card curmudgeon says, many people think Fields should be turned into a running back. Thoughts? I think that's a terrible idea. From what I saw from my non-educated football opinion, I saw Justin Fields really improve as a throwing quarterback throughout the 2022 season. I really liked his progress as a QB. So I think he'll get better. Let's see. Funny story from Paige and Deanie Bean. Sunday, Dean and I thought the Bengals won the game on Sunday. Come to find out, we were watching a 2022 replay. Dean was so confused at school saying Chiefs won. Flipping Sports Guys laughing about Fields to running back. Cooter says cards and sawdust do not mix. That's also another good point. Or drywall dust. Let's see. Brian says you don't want to take your cards over now when other people have access to your house. Let's see. What I would take to my house would be like junk. If they wanted to take a few cards, they can. Let's see. Where are we at? Flipping Sports Guy says people always want to turn these running QBs into running backs. Part of the reason they are such good runners is because they're also QBs. They may not be half as good as a running back. I would agree with that. Definitely. 100%. My generation had to talk to people on buses on the way to school, right? That is where, and see, I was at a disadvantage being a townie. I did not ride the school bus. So that was good and bad. The good, I only had like 2 blocks to walk to school. That's the perk of living in a town of 800 people. My school was 2 or 3 blocks away. The bad is I didn't get to learn about like the birds and the bees, because on the school bus would like my friends that rode a school bus learned about sex way before I did. And they held that information like that was like currency when you're in grade school and junior high, because the kids that rode the bus knew what a blowjob was. I had no idea what a blowjob was in 5th grade. Like, I thought it was like, but the kids on the bus, they learn all about that stuff from the older kids on the school bus. So I only had 3 blocks to walk to school, but I didn't get to know what a blowjob was until I was like 15 because we didn't have the internet. I couldn't Google it. So there's a lot of terms like Cleveland Steamer. I thought that was the name of a football team. So like my school bus riding friends are like Cleveland Steamer. And I'm like, is that like a pro soccer team? Because I don't watch soccer and hockey. So I just thought the Cleveland Steamers were a new NHL franchise. I didn't know. So yeah, that's the perk of riding the school bus. But yeah, now kids like shit, they have the internet. Like the world is in the palm of their hands. Where are we at? And look out the window, John, and see the world. Flipping Sports Guy says, is John a Cowboys fan? I think that's a joke. Saying it's more intuitive makes you sound smarter than it's easier. Saying it's more intuitive makes you sound smarter than it's easier to. I don't know what John's trying to. Usually I can get John's fat fingers, but that one I don't understand. Uncle Rich in the house. Hit that like button. Thank you, Uncle Rich. It's a snowy day in Dallas, Fort Worth. The Bowman U Power Bomb. Hey, there you go. The Bow Backdrop. Steve says, make sure you get the insurance on storage unit. Oh, that's a good point. But really, I mean, it's probably going to be junk that I would put in the storage unit. The insurance, like a month of insurance is probably more than what the junk I'm putting in there is worth. Minneapolis Kid, you need to have a leprechaun as a manager that gets the pot of gold at the end of the rainbow. Hey, I like it. Where's Hornswoggle? Hornswoggle is my manager, and he gets the pot of gold at the end of the rainbow. I'm sure that's probably not PC today. I probably shouldn't say that. Where are we at? And Bo's power source is the pot of gold. Yes. But that doesn't work. Leprechauns and my mullet. Come on, I've got to have a mullet. How does that fit in? Maybe my leprechaun dresses up as an 80s mullet head. Well, the frown is because warm is just the 40s. Actually an ice day, but we transplants call it a snow day. Minneapolis Kid says Fensick, Dent, Singletary, Dewerson. Those were some Bears, 85 Bears. I'm trying to think of 05 Bears. R.W. McQuarters, Nathan Vasher, of course, Urlacher. I'm trying to think of who else. Who else was on that? Oh, Lance Briggs, I think, was on that team. Alex Brown. They'll come to me. Thank you for reminding me. Quick point, and this isn't from me. Realized it watching all the sports shows. The Eagles scored 31 points against the number 1 defense and did it in 3 quarters. That is, yeah, I didn't realize the 49ers defense was that good. Urlacher was kind of like, I mean, that's like naming 90s Chicago Bulls and me not mentioning Michael Jordan. It's just like Urlacher's kind of like, duh. Like, I don't need to name him because it's just, because every time I drive into Chicago next to O'Hare, Hair, I'm reminded of Brian Urlacher on a billboard, now with hair. Let's see, and took 2 QBs out of the game, playing a much better O-line than KC was playing. Minneapolis Kid says, a while ago I was thinking Jim Harbaugh is probably the best Bears quarterback in the last 50 years and the worst Chargers quarterback. Harbaugh would probably be on the show. I mean, believe it or not, Jay Cutler's probably the best Bears quarterback in the last 50 years. And I know many Cutler haters will not agree with that, but it's the truth. Cutler is probably by far the best Bears quarterback in the last 50 years. Rex Grossman is probably up there. But Harbaugh is probably on that short list. I'd be curious. I might have to look this up. Like, statistically speaking, who are the top 5 Bears quarterbacks of the last 50 years? And I guess when you look at stats, it's probably going to be who was there longest. McMahon's going to be on that list just because he, played most of the 80s at quarterback. The 90s you had, let's see, how many years was 50 years ago? 73? So the Bears quarterbacks of the 70s, there's nobody on that list. There's nobody going to make it on that list. Bobby Douglas. I don't think Bobby Douglas is going to be a top 5 Bears quarterback of the last 50 years. 80s, you've got Jim McMahon. And then by the late 80s, you've just kind of got a mishmash until Harbaugh comes along. And then you've got like Eric Kramer, Eric Kramer might be like on the fringe of that top 5 list. And then you've got like Jim Miller. And then you go into like just a potpourri of 50 different quarterbacks in the late 90s into the 2000s. And then, of course, Cutler, Kyle Orton. So, where are we at? Let's see. Sounds like Bo is making up names. I think it's going to be a really good game, but pretty sure Eagles have it this year. What former Cubs player would you like to meet that you haven't? So I'll go with living Cubs player that I've never met in person that I would like to meet. I would probably say Sean Dunston, which surprisingly, I've never met Sean Dunston. Sean Dunston. I've never met Mark Grace. That's another one. Mark Grace and Sean Dunston. I've never met Sean Dunston or Mark Grace. Sammy Sosa. I'd love to meet Sammy. So I would say those are top 3. Sammy Sosa, Mark Grace, Sean Dunston. Let's see. Almost fell out of my chair with you showing the blood. Let's see. Dent was on the 85 Bears. There's our Bo bringing on the sex bots. Sex bots in 3, 2, 1. You and Navin R. Johnson were the only 2 people that didn't know what a blow. I know. Navin R., my guy. John can't unhear this. John's comment made sense 20 minutes earlier. Bo, in insurance, you can get full retail value per card if something goes wrong. So even if you wholesale the cards at a half cent each, you can claim 5 cents per in insurance. That would have to be, you'd have to go through like a collectibles insurance company. I brought my insurance agent to my house a few months ago, and he just looked at my basement and essentially told me, "You're effed. I would never insure this." So it would take a collectibles insurance company to insure my crap. My spelling trails off when the traffic lights turn green. I get it. I do get that. Your business insurance should already cover whatever is in the storage unit. Just Inventory says, I'm watching in between my turns out here on the golf course. Man, I love Florida, except when it goes all Florida. I get you. Hey, it's warmed up. It's only negative. It's warmed up to negative 19. It was negative 21 about half hour ago. Let's see. Eagles were the number 1 defense in hearts and minds. Briggs, there you go. That was one. Brian Urlacher was like the only guy like that I could name off the top of my head. 05 Bears. Lance Briggs, Nathan Vasher, R.W. McQuarters. I think Alex Brown. Who else? Where's Zach? Paging Zach. Porter and Dean didn't have to wait till 15 to know what a BJ is if they're watching. Well, I didn't explain what an actual blowjob is. You still have to know. Let's see. You do have that Sheamus look. Oh, I hate Sheamus. Oh, Sal Dougie coming through. I totally forgot Adewale Ogunleye. That's a good one. I broadcasted one of his dog. I think it was his. No, it was not his dog. No, because he was not old enough. I'm like, how does Ogunleye? I think it was like a cousin or something. Because the last name was Ogunleye, and I'm like, he's not old enough to have a high school daughter. Let's see. Where are we at? Let's see. Yes, Eagles are only 4 sacks from tying Bears record, keeping fingers crossed. Mahomes ain't as mobile as he usually is. Have a good shot. That's true. Mahomes is not 100%. It's a good thing there's 2 weeks until the game. Get that sprain. Heal as much. What is the frame? It's like 5 to 6 weeks or something, 6 to 8 weeks. Bobby Douglas married a Playboy playmate named Carol O'Neill. Dropping some knowledge. I like it. McMahon was a quality QB, but he was no Montana Marino class QB. Oh, without question. Without question. Miller and Kramer had some good seasons. Let's see. That is like I saw some of Eric Kramer's numbers, and it's like, wow, Eric Kramer had better numbers than I remember. The rest of the team sucked, but Kramer had good numbers. He did very well and may have set the standard for futures Bears QBs of futility. Vince Evans, there's a name. Vince Evans may hold the record for most seasons in the NFL with the least amount of like games started. Or wait, Jim Sorgi, Peyton Manning's backup, might be up there with him. Carmen Fanzone, there's a great 70s Cub. Thank goodness Dean is already at school. And Carmen Fanzone's still alive. He would be a fascinating Cub to meet. And Jose Cardinal, I've never met. Actually, I've briefly met Jose Cardinal. I may have met Carmen Fanzone in like an autograph line. I don't really consider that like meeting a player. That's just, hi, can you sign this for me? And you have like 4 seconds with them. Let's see. Thank goodness Dean is already at school. I think Bo should not talk, not talk stupid until after 8:30. Hey, that's a good point. 7:30 Central. Rick Russell. I have met Rick Russell, and we share the same alma mater. Rich with a Carmen Fanzone reference. I must have got him in every pack. Cooter says, I need Zach and Andrew to give me the talk as well. I rode the bus every day for 7 years and just learned of a Cleveland steamer. Really? You didn't know what a Cleveland steamer was? Bo, will you pay for my counseling? Don't Google that, by the way. Don't Google Cleveland steamer. It is not an upstart hockey franchise in Ohio. I would like to meet Yvonne DeJesus and Dave Kingman. Oh, those are good ones. Yeah, those are good ones. There are a couple of collectible insurance companies. Which Cubs grandchildren would you like to meet that you haven't met? They usually set up at the National. Let's see. Fanzone was a great musician, as all his cards would tell you, right? He would even play the national anthem with his, it wasn't a trumpet. It was, what the hell was it? Whatever a trumpet-like instrument was. Let's see. By the way, you might be able to tell my singing abilities. I don't have much musical talent at all, instruments or singing. But I like music. I listen to music. Let's see. I want to talk to him about who he played with. Mark says, didn't he play the trumpet? Peanut Tillman. I can't believe I forgot Peanut. Now that is a big oversight. That is a big oversight on my part. I did not think of Peanut Tillman. Let's see. Augustus says, I still remember seeing a commercial right before family dinner, and with out-of-town relatives, we rarely see asking, Mom, what's a condom? Half the room nearly spit their food out. Eric Kramer almost completed suicide. Really? He's doing much better now. Well, that's good. I don't remember that story. You forgot Brian Greasy. Go Blue, and my fave, Roberto Garza. Oh, Brian Greasy, another Bears QB of futility. Mahomes' mobility isn't the issue. He hasn't been planting well, and his throws are off. I did not know about the Cleveland steamer either. Rich, clear that Google search. If you do Google Cleveland, do it from a friend's phone. How many people Googled Cleveland steamer this morning? I actually sell a decent amount of Brian Greasy rookies. Interesting. So I wanted to talk about I think it was the Coronet. Let's see. Carmen Fanzone instrument. And you know what? It probably was the trumpet, now that I think of it. Let's see. He is an accomplished horn player. Fanzone started a jazz music career as a flugelhorn player. John got it. The flugelhorn. Why can I name more Bears from 2005 than you? Well, I can probably answer that. I was 23 years old, and I was drunk half the time. That might be why. I just don't remember. I was out partying too much. So we learned about Cleveland Steamers. We learned that Carmen Fanzone played the flugelhorn. And we talked about the Bears quarterback futility and defense specialist from 2005. He was 23. And yeah, I finally learned what a blowjob was at the age of 23 and a Cleveland Steamer. So tomorrow, I didn't talk about one of the things that I wanted to talk about, which was I was shipping a card. I'm already an hour 20 in, so I've got to go because I've got to ship some before I go to the house. But I wanted to talk about darlings of the COVID boom. So think about that for the next 23 hours, because I shipped out a card of a player that was like a 1 week wonder. And I'm like, man, and it got me thinking about other COVID boom players. And it also made me realize that it didn't really affect baseball. So I want to talk about COVID boom darlings. Will Greer, four times the better investment than Patrick Mahomes. So with that, I bid you adieu. Hit the like button if you haven't already. 32 likes. That's a really good. Thank you. That is a really good number for signing off. Really good. Really good. So that's all for today. Tomorrow we'll talk about COVID boom darlings in the hobby. I'll also talk about another Goodwill pallet and maybe another sex act. I don't know. We'll wait till after 7:30 though. So that's what I had for today. Thanks for tuning in. Have a great Bull. He's on my short list, Rich. Yep, Bull. I have 3 players named on my list. I know there's a lot more, but Bull is one of the 3 on my short list. So like, subscribe, and we'll see you tomorrow morning at 7 a.m.